Welcome, everyone. You're welcome to my live stream today. Whether you are watching from your living room, from your kitchen, from your office, or whatsoever you are doing, today's discussion is another parenting talk that is very powerful and very important for us. So, in this discussion, we are going to dive into something very important: nutrition and behavior in kids. How food choices affect mood, focus, and growth. Now, before we dive in, I would like to ask some questions. Have you ever had a moment when your child behaved in a way that left you confused, worried, or frustrated, and you just couldn't figure out what triggered it? Maybe it's a sudden tantrum that came out of nowhere. Maybe your child become unusually clingy, restless, or emotional. Maybe their focus disappear in school or at home, or maybe their mood flip like a switch, happy one moment, overwhelmed the next. Now pause and think of those moments, and then think, what happened? What's the twist? Was it the behavior? Was it bad behavior, or disobedience, or stubbornness? No. What if it's something more simpler than you think? What if the something that happened is something that maybe your mind can't even go there? You can't even think that this is what is affecting your child's mood, behavior. So now, sometimes we don't know that the cause of this thing is what? Food. Now, let's paint a scene. Let us talk about this scene now. Your child just got home from school, and then you hand him a snack, maybe because you are tired to prepare the right meal that you need to give your child at that very moment. And then you simply hand over snacks for your child at that moment. Then within minutes, this child is hyperactive, you know, jumping up and down, playing with his siblings, refusing to be still, you see, and you overlook it because you feel it's normal. And then by 6 p.m., this child, the mood sling, the mood just switched from this hyperactivity. The child become deep, suddenly grumpy, crying, refusing to do anything. And then you are just thinking, what happened? Why is this sweet child, why does the emotion of this sweet child suddenly switch like this? So, and later at night, you are just thinking within your mind what just happened. And then, unknown to you, that this culprit is just what was inside the plate, what you gave this child to eat. That was the culprit. You see? So, this is how important this topic is, because often we don't mind that the food can affect something about can affect the mood of the child in any way. So that is that. Now, why is this topic so important? Why does it matter? It matters because sometimes parents ask questions. Why is my child so restless? Why does my child mood swing for no reason, always changing moods from high to low all of a sudden? Then why can't they just stay focused? Yeah, so parents will be asking this type of question. Why can't the child stay focused in school and so much other things like that? Why do they wake up so tired? And what am I not doing the right way? So the truth is that you are not doing anything wrong. You are doing your best, or you are being the best parents you can. But something is being overlooked because no one made you to know that the food your child eats affect the child seriously. So a sugary drink can create a 30 minutes high and a 2-hour emotional crash. A child a child-friendly snack with bright color can disrupt attention for hours. Skipping a protein-rich breakfast can make a child's school feel like climbing a mountain. A late-night bowl of processed noodle can be a reason your child wakes up cranky and unfocused. We were told food gives energy, but no one taught us that foods shape behavior, and behavior shape routine, and routine shapes the childhood. Now, a powerful realization. Yes, more question. What if the breakthrough you are looking for in your child behavior doesn't require punishment, yelling, lecture, endless correction, just better nutrition? What if there's a gentler way, wiser way, and scientifically proven way to help your child stay calm, focus, sleep deeper, grow healthier, learn faster, manage emotion, feel confident and stable? This is what today's live stream is all about. Now, it's not about dieting, it's not about perfection, it's not about you being a superhero parent. This is about understanding one thing. When children eat better, they behave better, and when they behave better, they learn better. And when they learn better, they grow into stronger, calmer, more effective humans. Now, let's look at how exactly how. Now, I think by the end of this, we are going to get more insight about we are going to get more insight about the hidden relation between food and emotion, and know food that triggers hyperactivity, tantrums, and mood swing. Learn the brain foods that sharpen focus and boost growth. Discover simple daily meal that shift creative behavioral improvements. Gain calmness, confidence in your parenting. Now, if you have been if you have been overwhelmed, confused, or searching for answer, now sit tight and let go on. Children's behavior don't come in this. It doesn't just their behavior don't just happen out from nowhere, because their behavior is a reflection of what happens inside their body. It's just like nutrition, just like saying that nutrition affect behavior, and then and we don't know the biology or this let me say the science behind it, or what happens at the back. Now, think of your child's brain as a canvas, you know, and every day, this canvas are being painted. They use it to learn, play, think, communicate, solve problem, manage emotions, and get along with others. And then, what you use to paint this canvas is the food. Now, this food determines the color that shows up. on this your child canvas. Now, healthy foods. When the food is healthy, it's a very bright color. And what will be the color that you see? You see calmness, clarity, and balance. Now, when the child eats sugary food or too much processed food, this one give unstable color, chaos, irritability, impulsiveness. You see? So a child can only show the color you paint on them by the food you give them. The child can only show the color you feast in them by the food you give them. So that is exactly the connection between nutrition and behavior. It is not accidental. It is based on what you give them. Now, the brain is always eating. Yes, the most energy hungry organ in the entire body is the brain. Even when they are sitting still, even when a child is sitting still, the brain is burning fuel faster than we think. And then what kind of this fuel is the energy is the brain consuming? Glucose, vitamins, mineral, healthy fats, amino acids, and the brain receive the right nutrients. When the brains receive the right nutrients, the nutrient fires, emotion stabilizes, memory, focus, learning become easier, sleep deeper, that is mood comfortable. But when the brain is underfed and improperly fed, and then what happens? Attention becomes scattered, impulsiveness, impulsiveness, tantrums happen more often, energy becomes inconsistent, sleep becomes restless because the brain literally malfunctions based on what goes into the stomach. You see? Now, let's look at the chemistry of behavior. Let's look at it in more easier way. From food to chemicals, because believe you me or not, the food we eat are chemical components. The food we eat are chemical components. And then these chemical components and the chemical reactions that happens in the body and how it goes on in the body brings up these emotions. And then these emotions in our kids leads to the behaviors that we see. Therefore, every bite the child takes turns into chemicals to tell the brain either to be calm or to be anxious or to be tired, to be focused, to be moody, to be energetic, or to be overwhelmed. Kids don't just decide to be hyperactive or angry. They don't just come up and paint these behaviors and begin to show it. No, it is what goes into their body. Since they have smaller body, faster metabolism, and the effect is 10 times stronger in them than it is in an adult. The effect of the breaking down of these food substances and how these food substances act in their body is greater is greater in children, more faster. Now, the blood sugar roller coaster. Simple example. Your child eats white bread, sweet cereal, juice, biscuits, noodles. These foods are broken down fast, causing the blood sugar to spike, the blood sugar to go high. And now The hyper the hyper behavior you see in your child at this very particular stage, the child becomes talkative, becomes restless, overexcited, and impulsive. You see? And then after some times, due to metabolism and chemical activities that goes on in the body, these foods are being broken down fast. And then from broken down fast, this child swings to the second stage, and this stage becomes this energy crashes, and then the blood sugars comes low, and from the blood sugar coming down low, the child's mood is now affected again. The child now changes from this hyperactivity to being cranky, to be emotional, tired, easily frustrated, that is uncooperative. And you as a parent, you will be seeing these two different behaviors, and you won't know that both of these behavior came from one meal. That's one meal you give to this child. It's not just magic, and it's not just something, it's just the food that the child eats, and that sugary food. Now, let us look at the emotional side of this food. Let us shift from the physical to the emotional. Now, we know that what this child eats don't just shape their body, it shapes their emotions, their reactions, their coping skill, their ability to feel safe inside themselves. This is where nutrition became something far deeper than meal. It becomes emotional wiring. When Because we know that children can't express themselves with words. So what do? They express themselves with their behaviors. One thing, and you as a child, as a parent, you know that your children can't tell you, I'm being overwhelmed, I'm anxious, my energy is low, and all that. So instead, you will see the child throwing up some emotions that you won't understand, like crying, anger, clinginess, silence, recklessness, shouting, refusal, meltdown. So that is what the child throw up. But behind these behaviors, something deeper may be happening. Something deeper. Many emotional reactions are tied down to nutritional signals they can't explain. Just like we mentioned that in our, let us just look at this example. A child who has not eaten enough protein might feel irritated, but won't say, I think my blood sugar is unstable. The child can speak such, but because of chemical reactions in his body that brought his blood sugar low, he would just be throwing some emotions that you may not understand. Now, a child who hasn't had enough magnesium may feel anxious, but won't say, my nervous system feels too activated. You see, all these things are emotions. All these things are activities in the body, activities that goes on in the body, but affect the mood of the child. It affects how the child behaves. It affects who the child is. Now, they don't have this language. They only have the behavior. Now, emotions begins in the brain, and food fills the brain. That is that. Food fills the brain. every feelings a child express, joy, sadness, panic, calmness, fear, confidence is created by brain chemicals. Now, so every feeling, think of this chemical as emotional messengers. We have serotonin for happiness and calm. We have dopamine for focus and motivation. We have GABA for relaxation and emotional control, cortisol, stress management, melatonin for sleep and recovery. And now, the shocking truth. This chemical depends directly on what your child eats. If nutrients are missing, these emotional messengers became weak, unstable, and unbalanced. The result, the child feels emotions more intensely, more suddenly, and less predictability, or less predictable. And that's when most emotional struggle in children, especially the unexplained one, and you won't know it. The root is nutrition. Nutrition, the emotional marks. A child who is emotional overwhelmed from food issue may appear stubborn, may appear dramatic, may appear disrespectful, overly sensitive, moody, high strung, distracted, withdrawn. But behind these marks is often nutrition deficiency, unstable blood sugar, dehydration, overstimulation from artificial additive, poor sleep caused by food, imbalanced gut bacteria. And then when physical needs are met, emotions show the consequences. Now, how food becomes feeling. Simple. Food, when food are digested, they enter the bloodstream, and then brain chemistry, and then the emotions. From there, the behaviors begin to show. These changes happen every hour in the life of our children. The change happen every hour, from food to digestion, from digestion to the bloodstream, to the bloodstream to the brain chemistry, and then from the brain chemistry, this chemical activity will now start showing in form of emotions. From the emotions, then the behavior we now see in these children. Now, let us say, for example, a child eats a banana with oatmeal. Their serotonin level rise. They become calmer, more stable, and more patient. And this child eats sugary, but if this child eats sugary cereal and juice, their dopamine spike unnaturally, then crashes, resulting in emotional instability. If they eat cheese, whole grains, and protein, their blood sugar stays healthy, keeping emotions grounded. What if they drink sugary drink? Their stress, their stress hormone spikes. Food is not just food. Food is emotional shape in children. Now, what about the night? Now, the parents will often be confused about what happens in the night. Children cries at night, wake up multiple times, tossing around and turning, waking up angry, waking up too early, and then it don't occur to us that maybe what the child eats can result in such. Now, Let us look at it like this. Low magnesium naturally will lead to restless sleep. Too much sugar, emotional wake-ups due to activity that goes on inside the body of this child. You know, now what about processed snacks? Anxiety, not enough protein. Mm? So a child who doesn't sleep well cannot regulate emotions the next day, because this often leads to morning meltdowns, school resistance, frustration, mood swing. All this, all this results from the food this child ate. So all this results from food that this child ate. The food the child ate makes the child restless and sleepless. And then from sleepless, he wakes up in the morning weak. You see, not organized. And from down, morning meltdown, school resistance, because of poor diet that the child ate, because of lack of the sleep, from lack of sleep. Now he's now going to enter the next day less concentrated. You see, and throwing up all this behavior, throwing tantrums, refusing to go to school, and then crying because you don't know how the child feel. But from the child's body, you already knows what he or she is feeling. Mm. The hunger emotion link. Let us look at the hunger emotion link. Have you ever noticed your child become instantly emotional when hungry? There's a reason. When a child's blood sugar drops, the brain panics, emotional tolerance drop, patience disappear. Tiny things feel like big problem. Even adults sometimes feel this too. But because an adult can more of control his or her own emotions and can communicate, uh, can communicate, that is why adult case is a different thing. But what about children? Children can't communicate, and because they can't communicate, you now see them show different actions. Now, a small hunger a small hunger drop in a child can turn into tears, anger, panic, clinginess, shouting. It is not misbehavior for them. It's the brain that is asking for fuel, for food. The brain is asking for food, and food is fuel in a child. Understand? Now, the gut feeling connection. Gut feeling connection. Scientists call the gut the second brain. Why? 90% of serotonin, the happiness chemical, is produced in the gut. And when the gut is inflamed by fried food, when the gut is inflamed by fried food, the gut is or processed snacks, sugary drinks, junk food, artificial color, preservative, the child's emotional world becomes unstable. The guts become irritated, and when the gut is irritated, the brain is irritated, and this is why the child with poor diet may struggle with anxiety, emotional breakdown, low tolerance for stress, irritability, mood swings, not because they are bad kids, but because the emotional wiring is being inflamed. The emotional wiring is being inflamed. Hmm. Let us look at the calming power of right food. The emotional rule of nutrition. Everything became clearer. Certain food naturally calms the brain. Food like banana, oats, eggs, yogurt, sweet potato, nuts, avocado, spinach, whole grain, beans, fish, warm milk. This food help children stay emotionally grounded, handle stress better, think clearer, feel safer, express themselves without meltdown. That is a balanced diet gives a balanced child. There is no two ways about it. And that is why balanced meals is always important, always better than sugary food. So now, many parents spend years trying to fix emotional behavior through discipline. But you cannot discipline a nutritional deficiency. You cannot correct a biochemical imbalance with shouting. You cannot punish a child into emotional regulation when their body is struggling. Sometimes the child's attitude is simply, I need better food. I need a stable energy. I need emotional fuel. I need support. When a child feels well on the inside, they behave well on the outside. That is it. There's no two ways about it. The emotional, the emotional side, the emotional side of nutrition teaches us that kids aren't dramatic. They are expressing their internal chemistry. Kids aren't moody. They are hungry for emotional nutrients. Kids aren't misbehaving. They are dysregulated. And the food we give them shapes how they feel, how they cope, how they grow, and who they become. When you feed a child well, you are feeding their emotional strength, their confidence, their resilience, their peace, their happiness, their future. Nutrition, don't, nutrition don't just build the body, they also build the heart and the mind. Energy, behavior, and link. Imagine giving your phone, sorry. Imagine giving your phone 10% battery every day. What do you think will be happening to this phone? It will be freezing. It will slow down, shut off unexpectedly, become unreliable. Now imagine your child is running on low quantity fuel. How would they pay attention? How would they How would they pay attention? How would they regulate emotions? How would they learn new things or cooperate or stay calm? You see, children cannot perform well when they are undernourished. When children are undernourished, they cannot perform well. Eh, when they are overstimulated by sugar, or when they are running on processed food, their little body will simply be crashing. And because they cannot communicate, and the only communication you will see in them, even with all the chemical reaction that is taking part in their body, the only communication you will see is their attitude, their behaviors, which is simply from the emotional struggles they are going through at that very particular moment. From the emotional struggle they are going through, you will only see their physical behavior, which will be tantrums, you know, hyperactivity, or their low swings behavior. Now, let us look at the growth connection. Let us look at the growth connection. Behavior is not only about present moment. Growth also plays a role. Growing brains need omega-3 for learning, iron for concentration, magnesium for calmness, protein for stable energy, B vitamins for mood swing. When all these things are missing, the child will show short attention span, irritability, restless sleep, fatigue, poor stress. Parents may see misbehavior, but their body is saying quietly, all I need for this growth is not available. All I need for my body to grow is not available. Therefore, the child's body is being affected. Their child's uh, actions is being affected from chemical reactions that are going up inside the body of the child. The body searching for necessary nutrients that the body will need to fuel the growth that are being needed in this child. So as the body is searching for uh, for nutrients to fill all these gaps, and the body cannot find these nutrients, this very particular activity affects the child's behavior. It is a chemical reaction inside the body of the child, and it is causing uh, it's causing the irritating behavior you see the child exhibiting, or the irritating behavior you see the child showing, the restless behavior the child shows, the fatigue that the child shows, because this also leads to fatigue and irritable behavior. All these things are being caused by activity inside the body. Now, the modern problem, because the modern problem, children are constantly being surrounded by processed snacks, fast food, artificial color, sugary drinks, preserved meal. The body is overloaded, the brains undersupported, emotions overstimulated by sugar. And so modern behavior problems aren't always discipline problem. They are nutrition problem wearing the marks of behavior. You see, now all this modern processed food, are they so healthy to the body? The answer is no. They are not healthy to the body. You see, and they affect the mood you see in the child. They affect the behaviors you see the child show, or the behaviors you see the child exhibit. Now, nutrition and behavior are connected because food is not just food. Food is information, food is chemistry, food is behavior, and then food is the childhood. There's a very strong link. A well-nourished child behaves better. A well-fed child learns better. And a balanced diet creates a balanced mind. So when we help our children eat right, we are not just feeding their stomach, we are feeding their future. Sugar, the real troublemaker. Sugar, the real troublemaker. Let's talk about one ingredient, one food substance that is a problem. This food substance is sugar. It's sweet, it's comforting, it's everywhere, but quietly turn many peaceful homes into emotional battleground. If sugar has personality, sugar would be that charming friend who looks good, makes your child smile, brings temporary joy, but behind the scene causes mood swings, chaos, and emotional crash, confusion. Sugar is not just a taste, it's a chemical event in the child's body. And for many parents, sugar is invisible villain influencing behavior they never thought were food related. The sugar story every parent knows. Picture this. Your child just came back from school, tired, hungry, and a little cranky. To calm them down, give them quick energy food you offer. A juice box, biscuit, sweet yogurt, a piece of candy, a sweet drink, or even a white bread. So within 15 minutes, boom, transformation. There is loud laughing, jumping, talking non-stop, running from room to room, asking rapid fire question, unable to sit for 1 minute, touching everything, distracted by everything. It's like someone pressed the hyperactivity button on your child, but after 45 minutes to 1 hour, another transformation. Now they are irritable, whiny, crying easily, shouting, "Leave me alone," showing tantrums, saying, "I'm tired," looking overwhelmed. And you are standing there confused. What happened? What changed? One word: sugar is the cause. Now, let, let us look at it more deeply. When a child eats sugar, their blood sugar level rises. We have mentioned this before, that this triggers immediate hyperactivity, sudden energy burst, restlessness, excited behavior. The child don't mean to behave widely. Their body is flooded with fast energy, just like a car going from 0 to 120 in seconds. And the real problem is that the energy is burning quickly. And when it bursts out, when the energy that is burning too quickly, when it burns out completely, the blood sugar drop even faster, causing mood swing, frustration, crying spell, exhaustion, emotional instability. That is why the sugar creates what we call roller coaster child, up and down, up and down. The child, the emotion rises and the emotion comes down, emotion rises and comes down. So sugar don't just affect energy, it affects emotion. Inside your child's brain, the chemical that regulate feelings, you see, are being disrupted by this sugary food. A child who just had a sugary snack is more likely to lose patience, get angry quickly, interrupt conversation, become overexcited, and feel overwhelmed and struggle to regulate. That's why many tantrums are not behavior issue, but they are blood sugar crashes. The problem isn't just candy, it's hidden sugar. Parents often say, my child don't even eat sugar like that. But the truth is, children eat sugar even when parents don't notice. Yes, here are the common food with dangerous hidden sugar: flavored yogurt, fruit juice, like Capri Sun them, sweetened tea, breakfast cereal, white bread, packaged snacks, sports drinks, children's nutritional drinks, pasta sauce, ketchup, instant noodles, biscuits. This food disguises themselves as normal, but they are full of sugar. And the body reacts the same way every time. Why sugar affects children more than adults? Children are more sensitive to sugar because they have smaller bodies, their organs process sugar faster, their hormones are still developing, their energy burns quickly, their emotional wiring is not so matured yet. This means a small amount of sugar can create a big reaction. Thinking of it like pouring fuel into a tiny engine. The engine revs up instantly, burns out just as fast. Sugar and learning. The silent saboteur. When a child eats sugary food before school, you may not notice poor concentration, difficulty learning, fidgeting, daydreaming, trouble staying seated, restlessness, slow memory recall. Teacher often describe it as he is here, but his brain is not fully here. She is smart, but today she seems off. He is restless today. She is emotionally she's emotional today. Sugar affects not just behavior, but academic performance. But academic performance. Now, sugar and sleep. Sugar and sleep. The nightmare. The nighttime nightmare. Most parents don't understand why their child can't sleep well. Wakes up crying, tosses and tossing, wakes up too early, wakes up cranky. Often they answer again. The same culprit. The same culprit. Sugar. It stimulates the brain, makes sleep difficult, and when it crashes later in the night, it causes emotional awakening. The child has bedtime challenges. Look at what they ate through to 3 to 4 hours before sleep. The misunderstood child. Many children are punished for behavior that is not their fault. Parents shout, teachers complain, siblings get frustrated. But the child is not being bad. The child is being overwhelmed by biochemical storm inside their body, chemical reaction that takes place in their body. That is what is shaping their behavior. They are not misbehaving. To they are reacting to activity that is coming out from their body, which you may not notice, but you don't know that exists. Don't even know that such activity exists in them. Now, the good news. The hope we have is that we can reduce sugar, even just a little. When we reduce sugar, may notice fewer tantrums, more stable mood, better focus, improved sleep, calm energy, less hyperactivity, smooth smoother morning, better behavior at school. You see, changing sugar intake is one of the fastest way to improve children emotional and behavioral balance. That is it. When you understand sugar, you will understand your child. Sugar isn't just a sweet treat, it's a chemical switch that can turn calm to hyperactivity, happy to emotional, focused to distracted, cooperative to irritability or to irritable, from stable to overwhelmed. Once you see this pattern, you start recognizing sugar triggered behavior instantly. And from there, you can guide your child with wisdom instead of frustration. Yes, once you understand this pattern, once you understand the connection between sugar or between food and your child's behavior, once you understand it, you will now begin to look at the food your child eats from a different angle. You see, you now begin to see the connection between the food your child eats and the action they exhibit. You see, so instead of attending to your child with frustration, you will now begin to control your child with wisdom and understanding. Now, processed food and their hidden effects. Processed food and their hidden effects. Let's talk about the things kids love, but their brain hates. Hmm, 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 hmm. So let's talk about the food that your child love, but their brain hates. Now, food like hot dogs, sausages, meat pies, instant noodles, chips, sodas, packaged snacks, artificial coloring. Mm. Now, fast food. This food contains additives, preservatives, artificial dyes, and excess sodium. And these chemicals don't just affect the stomach, they affect the nervous system. Then behavioral since the now what about the behaviors that are linked to this processed food? When your child eat this processed food, they begin to show anxiety, they begin to pay less attention, they begin to feel restless, they begin to show emotional sensitivity. They are very emotional sensitive. Their sleep become disrupted and increased aggression. Now, study reveal that certain certain food dyes can increase hyperactivity in children, especially those with already struggling with focus. So next time your child suddenly behaves out of character, so what they just eat, what food did they just eat? That may be the problem they are exhibiting this character. Now, brain food. the brain food or the food that really helps kids to stay focused. Let's switch to the food that does the opposite. That is the food that supports better mood, better learning, better memory, better sleep, and better emotional stability. Top food for the kid. The egg is powerful for brain development. And oats are also good for steady energy. Avocado, healthy fats for mood. Fish, especially sardine and salmon, improves attention. Nuts and seeds, great for memory. Bananas, for mood lifting. And water. Water is the most underrated uh, food component. The most underrated. Water is best for body regulations. Sweet potato, stable energy source. Leafy green, boosts brain clarity. Green vegetable, beans, long lasting energy. All these are good for the child. Nuts and seeds. When kids eat this regularly, you notice when kids eat this more regularly, you will notice more calmness, you will notice less whining, you will notice longer attention span, you notice better school performance, fewer unnecessary battles and tantrums. Food and sleep. Why your child can't settle. Many parents said my child refuses to sleep, my child wakes up crying, my child is restless at night, and unaware to them that sometimes food is the culprit. Now, look at the food that disrupts sleeps: sugar, soda, chocolate, fried snacks, late night noodles, and spicy food. They spike adrenaline, keep the brain awake, and then keep the brain awake. Now, what about the food that improves sleeps? Milk, bananas, oats, warm water, peanut butter. A well-fed child sleeps better. A well-slept child behaves better, and behavior is often sleep and nutrition equation. When sleep and nutrition are balanced, the child's behavior become balanced. Now, school and performance food. School performance and food. Teacher often report similar behavior. Some children can't sit still. Some struggle to pay attention. Some get tired fast. Some act out emotional. Now, food is not the only factor, but plays a bigger role. Breakfast matters. What you feed your child before your child go to school is important, because the type of reaction that this food will be acting out in a child while the child is at school will determine the child's behavior and concentration in school or in classes. You see, because all this, you can't expect a child that is undergoing some kind of uneasy reactions within his body to feel concentrated. You know, it's not. You can't get such because the child body need to be calm, for the child's mind to be calm, and for understanding to take place. His body need to be calm, his mind need to be calm, he need to be need to be concentrated. So here is, by with this reason, the food that the child eats in the morning before coming to school is very important. Now, when a child eats egg, oats, fruits, and whole grains, and vegetable more, the child will have a more stable morning than a child who eats sweet cereal, white bread, and juice. A good breakfast is just like giving your child a mental shield for the day. Just like giving your child a mental shield for the day. Understand? So that is that. Emotional side of nutrition. Just like we mentioned, a child cannot tell you his or her behavior. The child can mention the behaviors he feels or she feels within her body. But the action will tell you all this. The child actions will tell you all this. Um, you can't expect the child, you know, to be organized as to be able to tell you about his behavior, or, or how his body feel. But the actions will sort of speak all these things for her. Like, he can't tell you I'm tired because my blood sugar drop. He can't tell you I'm cranky because I ate too much salt. I'm anxious because I haven't had enough magnesium. But their behavior will speak all these things. And if you understand, the better for your parenting. And then the results you will get from application of the knowledge you have. Now, poor nutrition can mimic emotional problem, can just show emotional problem like tantrums, crying, sudden anger, anxiety, clinginess, mood swing. They are not being naughty. They are just communicating their behavior. They're just communicating their body activity. A better diet will lead to a calmer home, fewer battles, and more emotional balance. Now, practical meal idea for parents. Instead of sugary cereal, try oats and banana. Instead of white bread, try whole wheat bread. Instead of juice, water or fruit. Instead of chips, try roasted plantain, popcorn. Instead of instant noodle, homemade noodles with vegetables. Why? Instant one are full of preservatives and chemicals that are not fully good for the body. But the homemade noodles, contains less additives and chemicals that the body does not need. Now, instead of biscuits, try fruits or nuts. Now, easy meal for busy parents: scrambled egg from fruit, veggie rice, beans and sweet potato, smoothie, banana, oats and milk, and stir-fried vegetable. Small changes always lead to big transformations. Now, how do we start how do we start making these changes? Let it be. Don't change everything at once. Start with healthier breakfast, reducing sugar, adding more waters, including one fruit daily, cooking 1 to 2 homemade meals per week. In a month, we are going to see a better mood. You're going to see better focus, going to see smoother sleep, you're going to see healthier growth and less emotional drama. And then, what do you expect? Your child's brain will thank you. You see, your child brains will thank you. Now, remember this: well-fed child is easier to raise. A nourished brain is easier to teach. And a balanced diet creates a balanced child. And then I am very grateful for you joining this live session. I'm very grateful. So thank you for being a part of it. And then if this if this if you got anything from this, I would like to share it so that it may reach other parents and caregivers, so that we will be able to have healthy and well balanced children that will make up a better society. You see? So that is that. Thank you for being a part of this live stream, and God bless you.
Warning.